Hello, everyone. Welcome and thank you for joining us this evening for this very special double anniversary episode of Café New Canadians, which is turning 1 year old today while the organization enters its 6th year of operations. Through its digital platforms, New Canadians informs and educates newcomers and immigrants about settlement, education, employment resources, and services to help them with their journey here, as well as immigration news and success stories. You can watch New Canadians on Omni Television, on YouTube, where this session is currently being live streamed, as well as on their website. My name is Daryl Pinto, and I'm your host tonight. I will be moderating tonight's Ask Us Anything discussion. Some of tonight's speakers, I'm sure you are quite familiar with if you are regular viewers on this channel. They have been in front of the camera conducting interviews for so many episodes. Gerard, Shruti, Vasuda, and Sherdil. Tonight, we'll also be having a lot of people who work behind the scenes to be able to make this content come to life. Lucy, Prashant, David, George, and Khalid. And they'll be dropping in during the course of the conversation. But as usual, before we begin tonight, I want to remind the audience that this is an interactive event. I want to make it fun and interactive, so I encourage you to type your questions via the Q&A tab on Zoom or the live chat box if you're watching on YouTube. So I'm going to bring on the speakers one by one, and starting with Gerard, who is really the founder and the brains behind this station, this website, this channel. I don't know, Gerard, you've grown it to such an extent, I don't know what to call it anymore. But you've done an amazing job, and congratulations on this 6th year of operations.
Thank you, Daryl.
Gerard, maybe we'll start with, everyone who's going to be joining us today is a newcomer themselves. So can you, for those people who haven't met you or know you, tell us how long ago you came to Canada, where from, and if you could go back in time to day one of coming to Canada, what advice would you give yourself, knowing what you know now?
Sure. I moved to Canada in December 2010 from Dubai, and I'm originally from Lebanon, of Armenian heritage. And my professional background is journalism and media. So if I turn the wheels of time and I go back to that day, I would, there are so many things I would obviously tell people, newcomers, in terms of advice. And if I choose one of it would be, don't be afraid. Don't feel that you've lost your confidence, or in Canada, kind of you're less than what you were in your country of origin or where you moved from. Dream big and don't be afraid to take risks. That's something I kind of paid the price for, I would say, and it took me a few years, to about a couple of years, to get myself back on track, to finding or getting closer to professional success. So that would be my one piece of advice.
And Gerard, after those couple of years, what was the big risk, or tell us about one big risk that you took that has really paid off?
The biggest risk I would say that I took is actually launching New Canadians in 6 years ago, and going kind of focusing on this project full time. And I used to work for another organization or company, and I had founded New Horizons Media initially with the intention of producing a TV show for newcomers, and added to that was the need to help not-for-profits and immigrant-serving organizations with their video and content needs in a cost-effective way, professional but cost-effective way. And it was a side gig, frankly, for about 3 years, between 2012 and 15. And in 2015, I launched New Canadians, and soon after, towards the end of the year, early 2016, I decided to go full-time on this project, and that was the biggest risk that I don't regret, and I'm happy that I took it, because I was able to maximize my impact to help people, to help newcomers, and I also met so many amazing people, including you, including all my team members who are today with us, and the few who are not, who couldn't join tonight, or who have been assisting the project in other capacity in the past. So that's my biggest risk that paid off, and that I'm very proud of.
And so you should be, Gerard. You've been a real trailblazer in terms of the path you've carved to help other newcomers through this channel. I'm sure the answer to this next question I want to ask you is going to be difficult to answer, because you have lots of memories from the 6 years of this show. But if I can get you to pick one moment that you look back and make you smile or make you even laugh out loud, what would you want to share with us?
There are so many moments, but the one that kind of gets frequently repeated is when we shoot the host introductions of the TV episodes. And that's when we are under the mercy of the camera operator, who sometimes it's George, sometimes it's Khaled, and they make us laugh at a mistake, or maybe a word we say that could sound kind of weird. And I'm a person who I have a kind of problem holding my laugh if I kind of start laughing. And myself and my co-host Rachel, we have so many laughs, so many moments where we had to stop the filming or even go get coffee, so that we relax, and then we were able to continue the filming.
Okay, so I'm going to test you now. When Khaled joins later in the conversation, if you can do something to make him laugh, let's see if you can reverse the tables on Khaled.
We'll see. George is the most person who makes us laugh. And when you're filming as well, you look at the lens. So that's funny. When we're filming, we have to look right at the lens. But I can see from the side of my eye that the camera operator is kind of laughing behind the camera. Maybe something unrelated to even what we did, but then I cannot hold it, and I start laughing. It has happened so many times with me and with Rachel, and sometimes even normal words. In that kind of moment, you pronounce it in a kind of weird way, and then you start laughing. One of the times, even it was my name, and we were making a mistake in the introduction, and so I got stuck on my name, so we had to repeat it a few times. So that was so funny.
Thanks for sharing that, Gerard. Shruti, welcome.
Thank you, Daryl, for having me here today. It's exciting to be on the other side and not hosting and participating like this.
I was going to start by asking you that. So how does it feel to be on the other side of the question being asked?
Like I said, I'm excited. I'm also slightly nervous. I don't know what you're going to be throwing at us. So yeah, excited, definitely.
Well, so this question I asked Gerard, I'm going to ask everyone as they come on. But tell us how many years you've been in Canada, where you came from, and then if you could go back to yourself day one coming into Canada, what advice would you give yourself?
So I moved from India 2 years ago. In May 2019 was when I moved to Canada. And the advice that I would share is, don't be afraid of experimenting. That's something that I came with a lot of confidence. I still have that confidence. But somewhere along the way, I thought, let me stick to what I know. Let me stick to the industry that I'm in, or let me stick to the work that I know best. And soon after that, I started experimenting a lot more with different avenues within my professional areas. And that has completely paid off. And that is something I just wish I would have started that sooner. Having said that, I think my initial few days in Canada, I took it easy. It was a breeze for me because I thought, okay, let's reach there, then we'll see what next. But it also helps to, of course, prepare and I think have some deadlines and have some game plan for the first few days.
So can you look back and tell us about one of the experiments that you tried after coming to Canada that really paid off?
I think Café New Canadians and New Canadians in general would be one because, like Gerard, I do have a journalism background, but I'd done print before this. I had done digital before this, but broadcast was something that I hadn't really experimented with. So, and it's having said that, it's just one of the things that I hadn't done. And now a year later, we were celebrating 1 year of Cafe New Canadians, and last entire year, so many Thursdays I've been online hosting these panel discussions. Otherwise, as well, when Gerard was mentioning the host introductions, the fun that we have, and of course the nervousness right in front of the camera. I think every simple word becomes a tongue twister just when you have to start talking. So yeah.
So I'm fascinated with this notion of experimenting and advice to do that, because I love that, Shruti. Now, 2020, year of COVID, has been disruptive on everyone. How has that experimental mindset helped you through making adjustments last year and into this year?
I think in a way, my answer would be similar to the previous one because Cafe New Canadians was born during this 2020 lockdown phase. And this, of course, was an exciting opportunity. I started hosting. I was fortunate to host the first session that we had of Cafe New Canadians as well. So that was definitely exciting, but there was a little bit of an anxiety as well, not knowing what one should be expecting. We were doing this for I can't be sure if we were doing this for the first time. At least I was doing this for the first time. But what has paid off is being persistent and, of course, continuing to believe in yourself are a few things that I think I would highlight right now.
And do you remember your interview when you started at First New Canadians? Was it Gerard or was it someone else that put you through the paces?
It was with Gerard, and it was more of I think, a networking kind of a discussion that we began with. At that point, I had no idea what this role is going to evolve into. And I'm just so glad that it has turned out to be what it is today. Because with Gerard, it's not, you don't feel like you're working with him, he's family. And that's how we all work. I think all of our team, we just function like that. We have fun, we work together, we just have a blast.
We got connected on LinkedIn, by the way.
Yeah.
The networking started there.
Vasudha, welcome.
Hi, Daryl. Thank you. Thank you, Gerard, for this platform and this opportunity.
So I'll start with the same question I asked Shruti, Vasudha. Your interview with New Canadians. For those people who are newcomers to Canada, can you just walk us through that path of how you connected to New Canadians?
So I think my husband created this WhatsApp group of new Ontarians, and somebody texted there that we are creating a subgroup for media folks, media professionals who've just moved to Canada. And that's where I discovered Gerard. I actually was gutsy enough to share, I think, a show reel of my work. I'm also, I was a journalist back home in India. So I shared my show reel and just pitched myself on a WhatsApp group. And then Gerard reached out to me and said, hey, let's chat more over coffee. And I remember, at Young Dundas Square at the Paramount restaurant, one cold winter afternoon, we met and just got to know each other, our professional backgrounds. And yeah, after that, what happened is actually a lesson that later I learned, and Gerard reiterated and emphasized that always stay in touch with your network and your peer group and your community folks who are in the same boat. At that point, I could have offered Gerard a lot more, but I was still in that mindset that I need to get a full-time job. I need a job right in my industry that I came from. And I kept focusing on that instead of low-hanging fruit or opportunities where I could offer myself as a volunteer or as a freelancer. So, but I think how it happened again, organically, we reconnected, and I started volunteering and freelancing for Gerard again. So we go, I think, all the way back to 2016.
2016. And if I were to press you for one moment that made you laugh or smile while you've been on New Canadians, what would you want to share, Vasudha?
I think I smile, and I feel immense gratitude every time I think about this community, because when I started interviewing and meeting all these experts and thought leaders, I realized, and I was in my early years here as an immigrant, as a newcomer, I realized we all started at the same place of fear, of insecurity, of overwhelm, and not knowing where we are going, and confusion. And then to see that these folks, really, these trailblazers, have been able to achieve what they have. We are able to see ourselves in them, and the potential, we were able to discover our potential through them, because they shared their advice, they shared their experience, they were honest and raw about the struggles and, the smart hacks you need to adopt. So I smile, and I feel so grateful and thankful for this community that, Gerard, thank you, you have nurtured over the years. And the fact that and I feel now it's our duty to pass on the good deeds, as many have opened doors for us. We need to continue opening doors as we move along. It is this community that I'm really proud of, and it makes me smile every time.
You said something I want to go back to, Vasudha, which is you did something gutsy by putting that reel up. So was that something that was unusual for you? Was just part of your personality that you would do gutsy things? Coming to Canada and putting yourself out there, was that par for the course?
Yeah. I don't want to sound boastful or anything, but just coming out of college, you get placed through your college campus placements. I don't know what it's called here in Canada. Back home, that's how it happens. And then you gain some experience in one organization, and then you get called in or recruited. So it's just a very seamless flow of moving through jobs every few years, or maybe not, just you stay in one place, rather than you having to sort of sell or market or network to get the opportunity that you want. I don't know if it's an immigrant exclusive experience or it's just the case here in North America. So for me to actually say, hey, I'm good at this, do you want to take a look? To me, it felt, oh my God, why do I have to approach somebody for work? And that was my attitude. I overcame that because I thought it was going to be one linear journey for me from India to Canada. I built this beautiful life and career, and now I'm going to just take those skills and start from the same point. It doesn't happen like that. The minute I changed my mindset and my attitude that I'm here to discover new experiences, build new skills, and start a new chapter, and which probably would require reinvention, I think the universe just opened up. My energy field just burst open with opportunities, and because I just focused on doing the work, and there's a lot. It's a South Asian thing. It could be in other cultures. I'm not sure, but we associate our status a lot with the work. So then I decided I'm just going to do small piecemeal work, whatever work, quality work that comes my way. I'm going to focus on building rich experiences. And then whatever has to happen will happen on the merit of my skills and my work experience. So I uncoupled the fact that I need to have this title or I need to have this position because I have these many years of work back home. As soon as you let go of those hang-ups, you're going to thrive here, because let me tell you, if we have newcomers listening to us, this country really rewards you fast if you're good at your work. Within 6 months, within a year, you can reach to a position where you probably were. And it's a very linear hierarchy, I believe, in this country. I mean, we're not hung up on titles here in Canada. So yeah, I think you asked me something and I went on a different tangent, but so.
No, you did answer the question. I actually want to come back to Shruti, and does that transition that Vasudha mentioned, right? The mindset shift. Is that something that resonates with you as well in your journey?
Somewhat, definitely, because she's right when she says that you come with a certain set of expectations, having built a career back home with number of years of experience, knowing what you can do, and then you come here thinking it's automatically going to start working in that field. So yeah, I do resonate with what she said. And I think so far, the three people that you've spoken to, we've all had similar backgrounds, journalism. So I'm sure there will be others who will have different things to add to that.
Sure to welcome. Do you also have a background in journalism to make it a full sector?
Thank you so much, Daryl, and I wish everybody happy double anniversary. And yes, I do have the background of journalism, and I've been working behind the camera as well, and right in front of the camera. So this opportunity that Gerard gave me, so I had to, I was thinking before coming here in Canada, because everybody was saying there is a time gap when you prepare yourself for the Canadian media if you want to come onto the screen. But I was fortunate enough that Gerard gave me this opportunity to come onto the screen. So my plan wasn't like this. Like, I was thinking to go back of the camera and start working as a producer or things like that. But I was happy. I was glad that I got the opportunity of coming onto the camera as well and hosting Café New Canadians.
That's amazing. Gerard, you're 3 for 3 in terms of people really being grateful for the opportunity and the impact you've had on them when they came to Canada. So good for you. Shirtle, tell us how many years ago, where from you came to Canada, and also if you could go back to day one, what would you tell yourself?
I came here last year, just 1 week before the lockdown in March 2020, and I'm from Pakistan. So, and one more thing, and I was lucky enough that I was availing some pre-arrival services, and Gerard is my mentor as well. So he prepared me beforehand, before landing here in Canada. So I was slightly prepared, I would say. And the first advice that, if I want to go back in time, then that would be clear your mind, open for the opportunity. Don't think about going back or something like that. Just focus on the new plan, new place, and prepare yourself to connect with people. Don't hesitate. Network with the people, and also one more advice that I want to give myself, that get the driver's license. Initially, I was thinking I don't need any driver license, but after these months, that I've realized that driver's license should be with you whenever you land here at Canada. Just go for the test and get the driver's license.
So have you gotten it or still to get it?
No, not yet. So I've been thinking to due to this pandemic and everything, it was there was so many hurdles to get the driver's license. So now I got the opportunity to get the appointment done for the written test, and then I'll go for the road test.
Awesome. Best of luck to you, Shirley. Listen, I was going to ask, but it sounds to me that your entire Canadian life has been during the pandemic, because you came just before. Yeah. So that must be really tough, right? To be in a new country in a very strange situation. How have you had to make adjustments during your time here?
There are two things. There is a silver lining to it. And initially, when I was thinking to come to Canada, people were saying that it usually takes some time, from 6 months to 1 year to adjust yourself to find a good job. And meanwhile, you have to do the other things, get yourself updated by getting some good courses and other things. So, but this opportunity that I was thinking about to avail was from the Bridge to Employment in Media Communication. And I was lucky enough to get enrolled in that program. So I gone through that whole bridging program. So that was a very positive thing. While sitting at home, I was able to upgrade myself to understand what the situation is about this media industry here in Canada. So that was a very good aspect of this pandemic, that I was sitting at home, I was studying, and I took some other courses as well. So I kept myself busy in getting those courses done and connecting with the people. And Sukhjit is also watching us right now, so he also helped me a lot. Like, networking is everything here. That I realized after a few days after landing. So get yourself onto the LinkedIn, and then connect with people. So that is the biggest thing right now. If you want to carry on with your job, or if you want to avail the opportunity. So this pandemic opened new doors for me, and I think for most of the people.
Yeah, I think both Shruti and Vasudha mentioned networking or LinkedIn. You mentioned mentors. So Gerard was your mentor. Tell us a little bit about how that intersection happened. Was it a formal program? Was it an informal sort of reach out to LinkedIn?
No, that was a formal program. I was availing pre-arrival services, and Canada Infonet connected me with Gerard, and I didn't know about Gerard before that. So I kept on sending him questions, my concerns, my expectations. So he was generous enough to guide me through all the processes that I had to face while landing, after the landing. So he helped me prepare about the industry. Like, he also shared a good advice with me, that be open to all the opportunities that you get if you are coming here from Pakistan, because there's also a difference of language. Like, I've been working with Pakistan's national television in a different language. So I was also preparing myself to bridge that gap as well, the language gap as well. So there are a lot of things that Gerard told me before coming to Canada. So I was when I came here, and then that was a very good moment. Then when I met the team while we were recording some, and we were doing a photo shoot, and that was a very good moment for me to cherish right now.
So Gerard, you must get, I gather from what everyone said, a lot of people reaching out to you on LinkedIn. Do you respond to everybody, or are you selective? Like, so if I asked the question because if a newcomer wanted to reach out to you, is there something that you look for in that reach out, or do you just respond to everybody?
I try to respond to everyone, but I'm a human as well, and sometimes life, or kind of, you would have so much pressure, a few people might kind of slip. So I apologize for that, but no, I try to reply to everyone, and but it works with some people, it doesn't work with others, because and that's something I see with many newcomers, people like Shruti or Vasudha or Sherdal, or when you network, sometimes you don't have an opportunity, right, for the other person, but you feel that they are a good connection to have it in your network, to build a relationship, to build trust. At some time down the road, you will kind of harvest the trust you built, or the relationship. Some newcomers are impatient, and they come and they are looking for a job desperately, or at that moment I might not have anything. So that's why I kind of always remind everyone that to stay in touch, so that I would remember you when an opportunity comes up, whether with my organization directly or someone else. And that's how we kind of came all together. And I mentioned earlier that for Shruti, for example, we connected through LinkedIn, and because I think she had checked my profile and I had seen her, and then kind of I reached out. I saw her; she's a journalist, and I saw from the time that she had just landed in Canada, I reached out to have some guidance, or kind of to offer some guidance and stuff. And later, I think it was a month after that, that we at New Canadians, we needed a reporter and a writer as well. So because we had met and she had come to the office and we had just met for networking, there was no kind of discussion of work. But she was in my mind, and I reached out to her and I asked her, right? And that was the start of a beautiful relationship. Some other newcomers, they don't do this. They are very impatient. They want kind of results right away. And it's unfortunate that Canada doesn't work that way. It might work with one or two, but in most cases, it doesn't work like that. You have to have patience, perseverance, consistency for things to work out at the right time. And this is something I believe as well, in that when you have kind of, and I will quote from Paulo Coelho as well, that when you really want something and the universe will conspire to help you, it will bring the right people in front of you on your track. And you have to be ready as well. You have to be collaborative to make that magic happen.
That's wonderful advice, Gerard. Now, while I get Lucy to join us, Vasudha, I'm going to come back to you. And, you know, I think all newcomers have this period. It's a tough transition in the beginning. As you said, right, we're going through this evolution of mindset change and thoughts of going back home. Has that ever come up with you, in that initial transitionary period? How serious were those thoughts, and what stopped you from going back home?
I think for a good 1.5 years, I've actively looked for jobs back home in India, even applied for them, even called my old networks. It sounds so silly. And I've had really dramatic and very, as you would say in India, filmy outbursts at home, blaming everybody around me for my state, except for taking responsibility for it. So many times. And that is the worst thing you can do to yourself, to tell yourself that, hey, I have this ready setup back home as a fallback. I have my family. I know people in the industry who will take me back in a flash. It's the worst thing you can do to yourself if you give yourself that cushion to fall back on. You left everything cold turkey and came here for a reason to build things from scratch. Why don't you see that, open your eyes and realize that and start working towards it? I did that for like a year. And at one point, I just got frustrated of being home and just shooting out resumes into the black hole of nothingness and not hearing anything. People don't know all the institutions or the work experience that I was talking about on my resume. You have to show some local work here. So I still remember that day. It was a beautiful October breezy evening, and I walked out of my door. I Googled actually Volunteer Toronto, and I didn't know it was an organization. And I went to their session, and I feel that was my milestone, my breakthrough moment that actually snowballed into everything I've been able to slowly gather together and accumulate in terms of experience and work opportunities. Just putting myself out there and saying yes to things and being open to whatever challenge or new opportunities that will come my way. So many times I've thought of going back home, and that's the worst thing. I think there's one statement somebody very close to me had made, that this country doesn't owe anything to you. Why should somebody respond you back on LinkedIn? And now, as I in my current role, with the pandemic, work responsibilities have grown so much. There's hardly any time to check LinkedIn or do any of the other things. So we just get maybe a 10-minute scroll on Instagram in the evening. So I now, being on the other side, realize how annoying I would have sounded when I was reaching out to people with the kind of, the mindset, the attitude that Gerard was talking about, that I need instant results and help me now, or you better help me now, and how dare you not help me? I've been that annoying person too, and now I look back and I'm on the other side. I should maybe take more time out like Gerard and actively help and coach these newcomers whenever I get the opportunity. I do. But don't think about going back home. Go back home for the right reasons. If you miss family, or if you had a profession of some purpose, you were helping people in certain communities that you can only do in India, or in your country, go back for that, but not because you can't find work opportunities. There are plenty here.
Thank you, Vasudha. Lucy, welcome. I'd like you to introduce yourself by telling us what you do at New Canadians, and also there's a beautiful painting right behind you, and tell us a little bit about that as well.
Well, first about New Canadians, I have been with New Canadians from day one, and I knew Gerard from before actually, and I was very impressed by his passion to help newcomers by giving them the right information, the good information. And I believe that information is crucial. It can make all the difference in someone's journey, not only in Canada, in general. And I really love his ideas, and I followed him, and I'm very happy. It's been how many years already? Very happy. About the painting, I'm grateful to Canada because I had the opportunity to learn something that I've always wanted to learn. And back home, for example, there are no courses for adults, or just if you want to apply for the Academy of Art or something like this. And Canada gives a lot of opportunity, no matter the age. And I met my teacher, Stefan Galvanek, in George Brown College, where I was actually studying journalism and editing. I went back to school when I came to Canada. It's a different story. So one more thing, I'm grateful to Gerard. He once mailed me, there is an exhibition of New Canadian artists and a call for submission. And I was, okay, I saw Dundas Street and I applied and I was accepted, and turned out that it was not Dundas Street, Toronto, it was Dundas Street, London, Ontario. So I had to bring everything there. And on the second day, one of my paintings were sold, like for amount I couldn't imagine.
Wow, that must have been something.
But thanks to Gerard, it really encouraged me.
Lucy forgot to mention actually that she does the story treatments of all the Café New Canadians sessions that go on TV, as well as all the segments that go into our TV episodes. So we do all the interviews, hours of interviews, then she deals with these hours of interviews to actually choose the best of what people have said and help us present it to our audiences.
So Lucy, when you edit this piece, you're going to take out all my ers and ums and pauses, right? To make me sound like I'm coherent.
I think you're a wonderful host. I have no words about you. It's really, you're really great.
I'll tell a small story there. The first session that you had moderated for Wood Green, if you remember, Lucy, when she was doing the story treatment, she called me that Daryl, the way he's introducing New Canadians at the beginning with the slides, this could be turned into a promo. So we were, so this was one. So she was very impressed, and she really likes working on all the pieces as well. So thank you, Lucy, for all your work.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Lucy, tell us which country you came to Canada from. You didn't mention that.
Well, I was born in Bulgaria, but I've lived in several countries before coming to Canada.
Got it. And so we have something in common. London, Ontario is where I went to university. I just thought it was odd that they would name a city after London. There's so many original names they could come up with, but they picked London, Ontario.
It's
great. Well, listen, welcome, and thank you for the years you've been at New Canadian, for behind the scenes and all the magic that you do with the content.
Well, I enjoyed it very much. I love it.
David, welcome.
Hi, Daryl. Thank you for having me. Happy anniversary, everyone.
Absolutely. So David, you tell us what you do with New Canadians, because you're not in front of the camera, correct?
No, I am creating the magic behind the camera. I'm the one who is handling all the social media and getting people to sign up for all the webinars and basically even put out all the interesting quotes that you see these days. Yeah.
All right, so let me ask you from a newcomer perspective. Everyone says you've got to be able to digitally network. LinkedIn has come up a couple of times. Doing what you do, what would you say in terms of advice to a newcomer, in terms of planning their digital networking strategy?
I would say get out from behind the camera and step out of your comfort zone, because most of the networking results that you get are more face-to-face. Yes, you do use LinkedIn. You can, I've even heard stories of people meeting their networking or their bosses on dating sites. It's basically just how you use a specific platform to your advantage. It doesn't have to be a formal platform. It's how you think of it.
So tell us how your path intersected with Gerard. Hopefully it wasn't on a dating site.
No. I met Gerard when I attended the Bridge to Employment and Communications program. I was in the first batch when the program launched. And in fact, I was one of those new arrivals who wanted a job immediately. But at that point, I thought, okay, as Vasudha said earlier, we back in India are so used to fast-paced environment where HR professionals call you up because they are interested in you. Whereas over here, it's the other way around, where you need to step out, network, reach out to people. And that was not easy for me. I consider myself an introvert to quite an extent. And I went up to Gerard one day after class and I was like, I love what you're doing. Could I be a part of your team? And he was like, finish your course and then talk to me.
So that must have taken a lot of courage as an introvert to put yourself out there. Vasudha talked about being gutsy.
Completely. It wasn't easy. In fact, right now as well, it's not easy for me to even be on camera because I'm so used to being behind it.
Great. I want to come back to Sherdal. Sherdal, this point that a couple of people made about being gutsy and putting yourself outside of your comfort zone. Have you found that you've been forced to do that as part of your transition into Canadian life?
Yes, definitely. And it's very natural. And if you don't do that, then sorry to say, there are no opportunities for you. Like, you have to open yourself for the opportunities, and you have to press the gas on all the skills that you have. Like, I didn't know about the small skills that I carry, that I would be implementing those or putting right in front to get a job. So it's always good to get out of your comfort zone, because initially if I talk about my profession, I was hosting a show 5 days a week and going out for reporting and everything, and I was pretty comfortable with that. I never thought that I would be working behind the camera, producing shows, guest lineup and everything. So when I started focusing on that, then I thought that these are the things that I already carry, but I never thought about it. So it takes just a little effort to utilize all those transferable skills that you carry, and these are the things that help you find a job or go along in your career. So these are the things that you have to come out of your comfort zone, because I was not thinking about doing video editing earlier. So I learned it and I now practicing it. So these are the things I must say.
Wonderful. Khalid, welcome. Gerard has already set the stage by telling us you're the fellow behind the camera that makes him laugh.
I don't know about this. Well, I
One
can
of them.
make you all laugh, not only Jared. Well,
So-
if you want to jump into the question about one of the memorable moments that I would have, I think my answer would be this moment that I had some difficulties turning on my camera earlier today. And it's funny that a cameraman can't like get his camera on. That's what happened today.
Well, you made it work, so your skills have been put to good use.
Finally, yes, I'm here.
But tell us about another moment in the years you've been with New Canadians, outside of this one, that has made you laugh or smile.
Well, I think one of the moments with Shruti, I guess we had this important interview, and we were on this event, and there was the mayor of Toronto, and we're like doing interviews, and everything was going well. And the most important interview for that day is the one that we are going to make with John Tory. And then just before we started the interview, the mic was off. Like something had happened with the mic and we couldn't turn it off. And it was like, why is that? With all what it was doing all the day and everything was going very good. And at this moment, the mic turned off. But thankfully, we worked it on. Shruti did some magic with the PR, talking with them, like doing some small talks, not getting bored with us, what we are doing with the technical issues that we had. But we finally got the interview, and it was a happy moment at the end.
That's great. I'm glad you were able to turn it around. Tell us where you came to Canada from and how many years you've been here. And one additional question that's come to us from the audience, Khalid. And do you feel Canadian now, and if you do feel Canadian, at what point in that journey did that feeling happen?
So I came from Egypt 3 years ago, and well, I can say that first I had my experience. My whole experience was in the media production. And before I came here, it was mainly in the news editing. But when I came here, I realized that I have to be more flexible regarding navigating this field. So I don't have to stick to one thing. I have to find more opportunities inside the field itself. So I said to myself, well, I have to learn new things instead of being like the news editor. Why can't I try to be a cameraman? So I started learning from the beginning, the tools, the technicalities of all of that. So when I did that, I started finding the opportunities, and I started realizing that yes, I'm getting into the field, and I have this feeling right now. I know the culture here, I know the community, I know everyone, and this is the moment where I started to feel like I can call myself New Canadian right now, with the past experience that I've been through. Now I feel like, yeah, I can say that, yeah, I've been New Canadian right now.
That's amazing, Khalid. Prashant, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me on this platform, and thank you, Gerard, for having me in New Canadians as part of New Canadian team. So I'm very happy. Yes, and currently I'm feeling like a student who sits on the last bench, and he's always afraid like this is my time now. I'll be asked questions and I don't know anything. So yeah, so the nervousness is taking the better of me. So yes, Daryl.
There's no need to be nervous. So tell us a little bit about what you do at New Canadians, Prashant.
So I take care of the YouTube. I don't take care of, I take care of the content on the YouTube, the thumbnails, the titles and everything. But I can say this on camera, but usually this is what Shruti does. And I just say that this is what I have done.
And tell us where you came to Canada from, how long ago?
Okay, so I came from India in 2019, May 2019. Yes, 7th May 2019, I came to Canada. It's 2 years now. So yeah. And when I came to Canada, I was in a mood of taking a vacation, because back in India, I had a very hectic job. So I thought that once I go to Canada, I'll take a long leave. So that leave extended to till like February 2020. And then, yeah.
All right, so I'm going to make you even more nervous now, Prashant.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you the responsibility to ask a question to anyone on this panel. Anything you've wanted to know that you want to ask them.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, well, now you have put me in a very bad position. So I'll start with you only. So if you can tell newcomers.
Wonderful. Turn the tables on me. That's perfect.
Yes. So if you can, what are the tips you would give a newcomer who's coming to Canada from a foreign country?
It's been said already by so many on the panel, and that is, don't come with a fixed mindset. Be prepared to change that mindset and be flexible, because the opportunities here, I think Vasudha said it beautifully, right? The opportunities are seen when you open your mindset. And immigration really forces you to do that, because everything that you've taken for granted that's automatic pilot for you in your home country, you've got to unlearn and relearn when you come to a new country, not just Canada, any new country you move to. So, Lucy went to London, Ontario. I'm sure you had your moments there, Lucy, where you had to unlearn and relearn. Toronto is very different than London, Ontario. So that would be my advice.
Thank you.
Gerard, you've just hearing everyone, you've made a real impact, a positive impact on more people than just we have here tonight. When you look back, I'm going to put you on the spot now. When you look back, is there one person or one story that really sticks out in your mind as the quintessential story of an immigrant that comes here and faces hardship, but then has success?
There are many stories, obviously. I would give one story from the team, from our team. One of the people I got connected with as well through TRIAC was an Iraqi refugee, and he was working for a big news organization in Iraq, Reuters, and he was hit twice, like in bombings of the UN headquarters there and some other places. And so he had landed here with very overwhelmed and didn't know anyone. His English was not that good, but his resume was perfect. An agency had helped him with his resume, so his resume was perfect. So we just got connected, and because he was he was very impatiently looking for a job as well, so he was throwing his resume right and left. So one of the big news sports organizations, sports TV organizations in Canada hired him because his resume is a wow resume. However, unfortunately, he couldn't keep the job longer than 3 weeks because he wasn't ready to take that job, as well as the employer was not ready to welcome a newcomer, especially a refugee, being with all that overwhelmed feeling. And so we reconnected after he lost his job, and he couldn't understand it, why they let him go. So he worked with me for about a year and a half, and not full-time, obviously, but he used to do a filming or two every week. Even we traveled to a couple of other provinces, to New Brunswick, to Vancouver. And over the course of 19 months, indirectly, I acted as his mentor because I understand his language as well. He speaks Arabic, and slowly, I gave him some tips without even realizing. And I noticed as well, he regained his confidence, his English improved, he got rid of that overwhelmed feeling. And after a year and a half, I lost him. And I'm so happy that I lost him. Why? Because he got 2 jobs, one at the CBC and one at the Associated Press. So I'm so happy that he was lucky to kind of find that opportunity. I was able to give him at New Canadians that opportunity, and he was able to use it to his advantage to land these 2 part-time jobs at 2 big organizations. It's up to him, obviously, to take it further from there, but he was able to successfully use his experience with New Canadians as a stepping stone. And that's something I'm kind of, that's what I want to create, that opportunity, that first opportunity. And I would be happy if we don't continue working together as well, because that means that they succeeded. I succeeded in offering a good opportunity. And here I would say even Prashant didn't mention, he was able to use his experience as well with New Canadians to land a job during the pandemic, which is something to be congratulated for.
That's fantastic. Lucy, I'm going to come back to you because in my Zoom panel, your center screen and that picture behind you is just capturing my attention every single time my eyes flip around. It's a beautiful painting, very peaceful. If there's a viewer watching and wants to buy that painting, how much would you sell it for?
Well, I prefer not to give the price now.
You're such a good negotiator, right?
Yes, my paintings have been sold in galleries in Toronto and in London, so see.
But I think, Daryl, if you want to get this painting, then Lucy can give you some discount, New Canadian discount.
Use code New Canadians, so when you purchase.
Turtle, I'm going to hire you as my chief negotiator.
Yeah, sure.
Well, we can start a bid now.
Canada is so beautiful. We just want you to paint. You just make me want to paint it. So.
I do want to ask you a serious question, Lucy, and that is, you mentioned you moved around a lot, even within Canada, London, Ontario. In all the moves, I mean, I'm sure you've picked up strategies on how to adapt quickly into new places that you're moving to. So for a newcomer that's planning or has just come to Canada, what advice would you share with them in terms of strategies?
First, keep an open mind. I came here with my PhD from Japan, and in clinical philosophy, I couldn't find academic work, but I had background in journalism from back home. I went back to school here. I got editing and journalism certificate from Georgetown College. I learned again because I knew my skills, but it helped me with turning into English everything that I have done, and be ready to learn. Don't stop at challenges, because challenges only can make you stronger. And if you keep an open mind, if you're flexible, you will succeed. That's my advice. And another thing that many people come from different countries and they stay only in their ethnic societies. Don't do that, because you have more opportunity if you embrace Canada with all the cultures that are here.
I think that's beautiful advice and a good note to end this conversation on. This hour has really flown by. So I want to once again congratulate you, Gerard, personally, for all the work you've done over the last 6 years with New Canadians. And clearly everyone has kind of shared how grateful they are for the opportunities that you've been able to give them to continue their career growth and transitions into Canada. Any closing words you'd like to say, Gerard, before I move on to announcements?
No, first I want to apologize. I'm looking right and left because I'm managing the back end of this conversation as well. First, I want to thank you, Daryl, and for moderating this panel, for helping us celebrate this opportunity, this occasion, 2 occasions actually, virtually, and also for your continued support. I know in the audience there are a few of our friends as well, Brian, Sukhjit, Gabriela, and Elsa, many others. We wouldn't have been here without the support of friends. Like what we've done, and even personally, I wouldn't have been here without the support of people like you around me. You're seeing on the screen, like Basuda, Shruti, Sherdal, Khaled, Lucy, Prashant, David, with the support of other friends who couldn't join us from the team, or other experts, other connections. We wouldn't have been here without their support. And by support, I mean every support, any support, sometimes even a word, even an email, even an introduction helps, because what we're trying to do collectively is to help people build a better future in Canada, learning from the mistakes or the achievements that we have had, and our vision is much bigger, and we want to walk closer there. And I can't do that alone, and we can't do that alone. Even the team here, we can't do that alone. We need everyone's support to help newcomers realize that Canada is a beautiful country, and to help them see the opportunities, and if there's no opportunity, create their opportunity.
Great. I'm actually going to say we don't need to show the remaining slides, Gerard. I will simply say to the audience that's watching, thank you for watching and continuing to watch. Keep watching and spread the word, because I think this channel and the work that Gerard and everyone on the panel today is doing is really accelerating these tough transitions that every newcomer goes through, helping us unlearn and relearn and become Canadian very, very quickly, or at least feel Canadian very quickly. So thank you for joining us tonight, and everyone on the panel for sharing your stories and your memories and your laughter. And wish you continued success in your journey. Stay safe, and look forward to meeting you in person one day.
Thank you, Daryl.
Thank you, Daryl. Thank you, Gerard.
Thank you, Daryl. Thank you, Gerard.